Is Xbox cloud gaming dead before it even got a chance? Is this definitive proof that the PS5 is better than the Series X? What's up, y'all? I'm Ray. This is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we talk about Xbox stuff, baby. I talk the latest news, rumors. If you've been with me for a while, if you've been watching my content, y'all know how it goes. I pretty much talk about whatever I want as long as it's related to Xbox in some way. That is the only rule. And today we're going to be talking about the future of Xbox cloud gaming. Now, today I woke up from a text from my buddy Jimmy, who is a certified grade A top tier cloud gaming hater, no matter what it is. And Jimmy knows I'm not really on Twitter. I have a couple of accounts, but I don't really use the app. So when he sees something that is interesting going on in the gaming space, he sends it to me. And this morning, he sent me a screenshot of this tweet, followed by the words, "Is cloud gaming dead?" The tweet in question comes from Dan Price, Seattle, and he said Microsoft is laying off up to 1,500 Azure employees a few months after laying off 1,900 Activision Blizzard staff. Microsoft makes $72 billion a year in profit and is the most valuable company in the world. The disease of growth at all costs means it will never be enough. Now, my response to this was, chat, is this real? Because while it is 100% something that Microsoft would absolutely do, obviously all these companies in tech are laying off people back to back, but the language Dan Price is using is that they are currently doing it or they're in the process of doing it. And guys, I can't find any news about any layoffs occurring at Microsoft, any further ones. I did find this article from The Verge about a month ago saying that layoffs had hit the Azure and HoloLens department over at Microsoft. That was on June 3rd, and that was about 1,000 employees affected across both divisions. The Verge says the mixed reality department working on HoloLens 2 is one of the areas affected. Separately, Business Insider reported that Azure for operators and mission engineering has also seen cuts of hundreds of employees. And that, of course, was right on the heels of the layoffs going on at Activision Blizzard. Also, the rest of Microsoft, that they laid off like, what, 10,000 people? So I'm like, is this Dan guy referring to those layoffs, or are there more coming? I can't find anything about it. And if Microsoft did lay off even more Azure employees, well, we would definitely be hearing something about it, because every time they do any sort of layoffs, it makes headlines. Microsoft and Xbox, they're going through what everyone else in tech is going through. Back in 2022, they hired 50,000 employees because they were like, everyone's inside, they're using tech, they're playing games. They expected their business to grow exponentially at the same rate it had from 2020 to 2022. And then they were like, oh crap, that's not the case, we gotta cut back a little bit. But when Xbox does it again, it is headlining news. When they shut down those 4 Bethesda studios, the big narrative going around was that Xbox has closed down more studios than they've released first-party games this year. They've only released one, Hellblade 2, and they've closed down 4 studios. And I always thought that was kind of weird, because it's like, you could say that about pretty much anyone in the games industry right now. In 2024, Sony shut down London studios. They laid off 900 employees across their gaming division, including people at Insomniac Games, which just shipped a very successful Spider-Man 2, and also Naughty Dog. And there was a bunch of layoffs at Bungie. We've also seen massive layoffs at Riot, Unity, EA, the Embracer Group. But I'm getting off track a little bit here. I'm leaning into like whataboutism. If there are further layoffs in the Azure department over at Microsoft, how would that affect Xbox cloud gaming? Well, as far as my rudimentary understanding of how Xbox cloud gaming works, it relies on 2 things: Azure Cloud Tech, and Series X blades. We also know that Xbox has a very keen interest in using Azure Tech in game development, and whatever this new thing that Kojima is currently working on for Xbox has something to do with using that cloud gaming tech. So I don't know if more layoffs are coming. I don't know if he's referring to something that happened a few weeks back. If he's referring to the layoffs that happened a month ago, it has me questioning, well, they had those layoffs but didn't affect Xbox cloud gaming expanding to other platforms like Amazon Fire devices, which leads me to believe that no, Jimmy, cloud gaming is not dead. It hasn't even gotten started yet. We haven't even seen the full potential of it. Yes, it's kind of had a rocky start. I have a love-hate relationship with it. Sometimes it pisses me off. Sometimes I'm like, this is really cool. Barring some like crazy technological leap, I don't think cloud gaming will ever supplant console gaming or PC gaming, native gaming. I see a lot of people saying, well, why would Xbox push cloud gaming onto Amazon Fire Sticks when they're trying to sell consoles? I think they can sell consoles and put their app on other devices. And to be honest, they're probably going to need to do that because that is the only space where their competitors aren't going to. PlayStation, Nintendo, they don't have a presence on these streaming devices like the Fire Stick, like the Gaming Hub app, whatever. Ultimately, what it comes down to is that people are opposed to a world where we can only play our games with an internet connection. Xbox fans are actually seeing the potential drawbacks of that today, literally right now, because Xbox Live is down. They are reporting a major outage. You can see Starfield behind me right now, and when I tried to boot it up, they were like, oh, the owner of this game needs to sign in. I'm like, what? I'm the owner of the game. What the hell? Well, because I own the game digitally, I downloaded it digitally. Xbox wants to know that the person that bought the account, the owner of this digital game, is the one that is actually playing it, and they can't do that unless they check with the servers and see if I have permission, which is butt cheeks. That's totally unacceptable. I should be able to play Starfield, a single-player Bethesda RPG, offline. This is cheeks, bro. This is cheeks, because it's not just Starfield. As you can see, I'm going through all of my games here that I actually own. Yes, I get that you wouldn't be able to access Game Pass titles during an outage like this, but these are games that I actually own outright. Starfield, Cult of the Lamb, Cyberpunk 2077, freaking Elden Ring. I mean, like, I own all of these games, and Xbox is telling me that I cannot play them because I am not connected to the internet, and they can't double check that I freaking own them outright. I'm talking like over $200 worth of games that I do not have access to because of this outage. This is just absolutely crap. There's no two ways about it. This is exactly what Jimmy is talking about when he says that digital ownership sucks and this is what's gonna happen. I hate to admit that he's right, but in this very specific instance, he is right because what the hell? Now, theoretically, there's a very easy way to fix this. And that is to make sure that whatever Xbox that you are playing on is designated as your home Xbox. But here's the thing though, my Series X that's connected to this TV is not my home Xbox. No, my Series S is, because I want to make sure that my wife on her profile has the opportunity to use my Game Pass subscription to access the games that I've bought. And as you can see, when I tried to change my Series X back to my home Xbox, it's like, well, you don't have any switches left. You used up all 5 of yours, which is crap, but they don't know any better because they can't check with Xbox's servers. And then when I click, hey, yes, make this my home Xbox, they can't because of the outage. I have internet, but because Xbox Live is down, I don't have access to any of my games. And yeah, sure, I can go ahead and just take my Seagate card that has the games that I want to play on it, put it into my Series S, and play them. But I don't want to do that. I want to play on my Series X. And if you didn't have the foresight to make sure that your Xbox was designated as your home Xbox, then you just have to wait until the servers are repaired. And at this point, the outage has been going for a couple of hours, so who knows when that's gonna happen. Ugh, man, I can only think of one other time that this happened in a major way like this. The fact that I can wake up one day and not have access to any of my games is crap, bro. It's just crap. There's no other way to put it. Next up, we're gonna talk about, apparently people have found definitive proof that PlayStation 5 is better than the Xbox Series X. Because Digital Foundry just did a video where they were like, well, on paper, the Xbox Series X is the most powerful console. On paper, the Series X is able to achieve more teraflops with its GPU, and it has wider memory bandwidth than the PS5. But despite this, the PS5 is still able to outperform the Series X on certain games. They say while the console may have fewer compute units than the Xbox Series X, 36 versus 52, the entire GPU runs faster, meaning that certain tasks will complete faster, better suiting certain game design engines. The PS5 is able to achieve this because they basically boost the clock speed on their GPU, and they apparently also have a more efficient GPU compiler, lower level APIs, and higher clock speed. Now, this is something that, this is a topic I'm terrible at discussing, first of all, because I'm not really passionate about it, right? That's why these guys at Digital Foundry, people like them so much, because they're very knowledgeable about what's going on under the hood of our favorite consoles and how it affects our gameplay. And basically what I got from this article and this video, whereas other people are saying, oh, this is why PlayStation 5 is dominating Xbox, this is why Xbox sucks. This situation to me is a reflection of PlayStation versus Xbox's strategy. PlayStation, Sony, they put a huge emphasis on the console itself. And Sony, with the PlayStation 5, has basically maximized the potential of their console. Whereas Xbox, and they pointed out in the Eurogamer article, the architecture has a commonality with PC, making it easier for developers to make an Xbox version and a PC version, which is exactly what they have to do because all first-party Xbox games go to PC. And further down in that paragraph, they're like, well, we prefer to play on the Xbox Series X a lot of the times because of VRR. So there's a lot of layers to this, but to be honest, guys, I'm like, how many, what is the percentage of gamers that actually care about this stuff? Because the way it manifests itself to me personally, I'm like, it doesn't really affect my enjoyment of the game. Nothing really sticks out to me as like, oh man, I wish I was playing the PlayStation 5 version of this game so I can get 8 FPS more in densely populated areas, I guess. They were like, oh yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, Xbox first-party games are playing better on PS5. It's a slap in the face to freaking Xbox owners. And I was like, really? I played the Hi-Fi Rush PS5 version. I didn't really notice anything different. And people were like, check again, because the shadows are way sharper on PlayStation 5 than Xbox Series X. And it's like, I don't give a damn about no shadows. Come on, especially in a game that is highly stylized, comic book-esque. Come on. Not to take anything away from Sony or PlayStation, it is impressive that they are able to achieve so much with their hardware. And I'm not gonna pretend like there's not a PlayStation 5 sitting right behind me. There are merits to all platforms. Let's just put it at that. And I really don't think that just because the clock speeds are better on the GPU, unless you're sitting down with an Xbox and a PlayStation 5 side by side, and you're playing the same game, and you're looking intently for differences, I don't think it's gonna affect your enjoyment of a game. What they're not talking about in this article is, well, the install base for PlayStation 5 is obviously a lot bigger than Xbox Series X or S. So I imagine if you're a third-party developer or your game is going multi-platform, your priority is going to be on the PlayStation 5 version because that's where most of your customers are. And we also know that, well, if you're developing a game for Xbox in the modern era, in the year of 2024, you're not just developing it for the Series X. No, you're also developing for the Series S. And I know from talking with other people that, well, you can pretty much get any game running on the Series S. It just takes a little bit more time, which I'm sure plays a huge factor in what goes on with these performance issues from these multi-platform games. I'm really not sweating it too much. This seems like one of those things that a lot of people care about on Twitter, online, whatever, but if I was to see someone in the street who is an Xbox owner and talk to them about it, they would be like, oh, well, whatever. We know that Xbox is not just about the console like we were just talking about. They're about cloud, they're about console, they're about PC. Maybe next generation, they take out the Series S variable, so it's a little bit easier for those third-party developers. But no matter what, we got some exciting stuff on the way. Maybe even an Xbox handheld. Yes, the Xbox handheld is once again on people's minds because of a new dashboard that we saw in a really random place. This video about a robo-taxi on Top Gear featured this Xbox dashboard on the screen of the car. And now, before I get too crazy, I will mention that Microsoft has responded to this and said it was just a mock-up, but I do like the layout of it. Like the very brief glimpse that we got of it, I like it. And like Xbox Core has pointed out, this would be a very nice, interesting interface for an Xbox handheld. Before I ended this video, I want to talk a little bit about Game Pass. Like I always say, it is not an Xbox-ready video unless I talk about Game Pass in some way. And this month is shaping up to be a super strong month for anyone who is subscribed to the service. We got some pretty decent additions over the past couple of weeks, including the Callisto Protocol. The game's not perfect, but it is a solid horror game. We also got Octopath Traveler 2. We got a really interesting mix of third-party games that are a little bit older, like 1 or 2 years old, and some new games coming up as well. Flintlock Siege of Dawn, which had a really awesome trailer at the Xbox showcase. The combat in this game looks really, really fun. Neon White is being added in July UI as well. This is like a crazy roguelite that encourages you to speedrun the game, and it features some really awesome voiceover talent as well, including Steve Bloom as the lead. Dungeons of Hinterberg is also finally coming to Xbox this month, and it's being added day one to Game Pass. Now, I saw a preview of this game back in 2023, not this past showcase for Xbox, but the last one. Now, I know this probably isn't going to be a game for everyone, but there are a lot of interesting elements to it. It's got like a dungeon crawler aspect, a social aspect. It's a blend of things that I feel like there's like a core niche audience out there that I feel like are going to go crazy for this game. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. If you like Xbox, if you like my content, hit subscribe and ring that little bell to be alerted whenever I post a new video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.